Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, whatever else you want to call me, whatever that might be. And it isn't a show unless I'm accompanied by the enchanter of effervescence.
Wait, it keeps changing. We're all, I don't know. I'm bubbly. That's
What?
it. I'm bubbly.
Bubbly. She's bubbly. Kris Carr, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, how are you?
This is the 10th Andor Aftershow. Mm-hmm. And you know what, Kris? I have to say that I was a little dubious about this show.
Really?
When it first started.
Oh.
Not before it aired. Because I as much as I liked Rogue One, I didn't know, I understood, we're going to learn about the dawn of the rebellion, the beginning of, but I wasn't like, is that going to be good? Yeah. I had no idea going into the show that watching the final scene in this episode with Stellan Skarsgård giving one of the great speeches. I mean, it could have been Peter O'Toole in Lawrence of Arabia giving this speech.
Great comparison.
I mean, and it was jaw-dropping because, as we've said, as each week goes by, I've always, to watch the idea that the forging of the rebellion and then actually seeing what the iron fist of the Empire means to a galaxy far, far away, what it means to the people, what it means to the free people that are no longer free because democracy died with cheering throngs. I was stunned, although I shouldn't be stunned because we've had 9 episodes of this. I was stunned by the final moments of this episode, and I sat there slack-jawed, and I watched that speech 3 times.
It was beautiful. It was incredible.
I mean, it's such a strange thing now because when I was a kid and saw Star Wars and Empire for the first time, I took them very seriously.
Absolutely.
Like in my mind, in my imagination, it was very serious, even though, R2-D2 and C-3PO kind of added some mirth-filled antics. And Ben Kenobi was sort of contemplative and wise. And I identified, with Luke, and I wish that Han and Chewbacca were my friends, but I still took it seriously. It wasn't something like Luke was somebody I could grow up and be.
Yeah, that's your window person. We've all experienced that moment.
Absolutely. And then with Empire, everything was deepened. And after that, I've kind of felt Star Wars never lived up in any incarnation to what I felt about it in the first 2 films. And it's not because I changed. It's because even with Jedi, things got a little kidified. And it was, even though I liked the battle with the Emperor, but in my lifetime, Clive Revill, who played the Emperor in Empire, was scary AF.
Yeah.
And Ian McDermott was more like Snow White's scary witch.
Oh,
and this happened in my lifetime, because it was recast. And when Vader said in Empire, if he could be turned, he would be a valuable asset. And the Emperor's like, yes. He wasn't like, yes, Lord Vader. He would be a valuable asset. And by the time by the time he got to Jedi, things had changed. And Star Wars had been, it was never, until now. Rogue One kind of got there, but Rogue One felt like it was a B+ to me. It didn't feel like it was A.
Okay, see, thank you, because everyone jumps down my throat when I'm like, I don't think that Rogue One is as phenomenal as everyone says it is. I think it's a good movie. It's not great. And then the internet panics because it's filled with polarizing people who you either have to love something or hate something. I can enjoy something and still take issue with it.
My problem with Rogue One is I really wish it was a half an hour longer and all of our team members, like we saw them on, say, Jeddah, protecting those Kyber crystals when the Empire first arrived. And we got snippets because we saw, of course, Mads Mikkelsen, and we understood where Jyn Erso came from. We got a little bit of backstory. If we had that little bit of backstory with all the members of the Rogue One team, it would have been more resonant to me, because when we meet these characters, it's like, okay, all we have is what they are at face value.
Exactly.
We don't know them. So their journeys are incomplete. So when they all fucking die on Scarif, I felt like we only knew you we didn't know you very well, did we? And that's what I think is missing from Rogue One is the arc of these characters. So when they all die, it's like
It's not as emotionally satisfying as it could be.
it could have been. And if they added, and I've always wondered, because Rogue One, during the making of it, of course, they changed it because they said it's too dark. We have to, and I was like, bring the wars back to Star Wars. It's not like, let's ignite our lightsabers and fight. I mean, I never understood. And this show, I mean, the scene with Mon Mothma, I mean, she needs money to cover her tracks. And this skeezy dude, like this rich Jeffrey Epstein, how about your daughter? I know he was talking about marriage and all that, but still, marriage as commodification.
And we know that Mon Mothma, I mean, even though it is tradition for her people, she essentially was a child bride.
Yes.
And so it's why would you think I'm all right with that tradition? Knowing who she's married to and how that marriage has ended up too. I mean, to have your daughter be a pawn in that way, whew. Someone wrote into the main show, right? Her quiver, the quiver.
Oh, that was,
so
I mean,
good.
she is so good. And this idea, you're watching these characters, whether they have to compromise themselves or not, we're watching these people being forged to the point of the pushback. Mon Mothma is being driven over the edge. Luthien has been doing everything he can. And a friend of mine said, where's this show going? I don't understand where the show is going. We are watching the super glue of the rebellion being put on a bead, down, and these pieces are going to come together like not unlike a Bandai perfect grade Gundam model. That's how well they're going to fit together to create this rebellion, because you need these people to be this way in order for the rebellion to have a chance. They have to get screwed over. They have to have their morals compromised. They have to know what a shitty world they live in.
Exactly. And I think how they have to compromise themselves is the best through line for this episode, right? That's what we're seeing everyone do, is all of the shades of moral ambiguity that they have to accept, which is perfectly punctuated by Luthen's wonderful monologue at the end. But I mean, we see Kino, who has if I do this by the book, if I do this well, I get out and I have my nose clean and I'm fine. We see this one with Mon Mothma, who has tried so hard to be an actual political renegade, and that's just been completely
they literally
dismissed.
they turn their lights off. Bitch, we don't want to listen to you anymore.
Yeah.
You have nothing to say.
We see in this moment perfectly, Luthen's already told us about how, there will be blood on your hands, you have this, but how he's compromised everything, namely himself, is so beautifully done in this episode. And I think it's just a really great encapsulation of what happens in war.
Absolutely.
Like, you can't have a revolution without bloodshed and without, compromising who you are as a person. And I think this episode just does the best job we've seen so far of showcasing it and showing it to us. Yes, the monologue told us that, but in a way that was powerful and concise, after giving us an entire episode of, this is what it is. This is how there is only one way out in every single one of these scenarios.
Absolutely. And I have to say, what I really enjoyed is that Kino has been trying. I saw Andy Serkis speak about how he kind of gave himself his own backstory, that he was like a family man. He does have a family to go back to at some point. And like you said, by doing things by the book, by making sure, but at the same time, keeping his men as safe as possible. He's kind of a stern man, but he's doing it in order to protect his men. He truly is. But now he finds himself in a position where he's taking life. And this is the only way. It wasn't until all of his men's lives were threatened, and then he lost. I assume that he hadn't lost really anybody up until that point. And and that was what pushed him over the edge. And he got into a position, and Andy Serkis playing this, when he's there and he has to motivate the men. He's the only person that can push them over the top and get them to take this facility and get the hell out. And he can't do it.
Yeah.
He can't do it. And it's Cassian Andor. He's like, you need to talk to these men. And people wonder, well, Cassian's like a passive. He's too passive. I'm like, no, this is that moment where Cassian steps in. Not only will he plug some dudes, I mean, that guy has no compunction. Just boom, he'll blow anybody away. Doesn't care. Love it. But he was the one that had to push. He had to push Kino to do what
he's a little shit stirrer.
It was awesome, though. And it was awesome to watch Andy Serkis just rise to that occasion. and you could see what a performance.
He's incredible. When I teach mocap to my students, I always make them watch Caesar's monologue and the transition into the actual graphics of the transformation as well. But just the power that he can bring in his face is so incredible. And I've said it before on these after shows too. Andy Serkis is in such control of his instrument on a whole,
Right.
that it is always a masterclass watching him do anything. I mean, from 13 going on 30 to this, he is phenomenal in everything he does. And it's just this beautiful mixture of power and control, and then a willingness to throw all of that away for incredibly vulnerable, sweet moments like the second read of I Can't Swim, where you have that little warble in his voice. And he just looks like this scared kid.
Unbelievable.
Oh, he's so good.
And the funny thing about it is, look, this is a very different kind of narrative. The presentation is very different than Star Wars and Empire and Jedi and everything we've seen in the past. And I think a lot of people haven't been digging it as much as it's very much a litmus test. It's become a litmus test in fandom. But I not that, look, would I like to be honest, a little bit more of the pulp sci-fi nature of Star Wars in it? I would welcome it, sure.
Yeah.
But I don't think both things really could work together. What they are doing for this show specifically is it's transcending what Star Wars is and showing us the possibilities of not just what it could be, but what it also is.
Yeah.
And I find that
Star Wars can contain multitudes.
Yes, it can.
And we
Yes,
saw
it
an
can.
alien in this one, too, for everyone's been saying, where are all the aliens in Star Wars? We did see somebody off to the side, a tertiary character. So there was one. We did it, guys. We got one alien.
Well,
in there.
but I
Enjoy.
also think that's kind of an undercurrent of this show, as Azad Bohr said in Star Trek VI, a Homo sapiens only club. And there is an element of total racism in the Empire, which
Yes.
was always there.
Yeah, they're very speciesist.
Very much so. When you saw you didn't see many aliens running the Empire in Star Wars.
No, but you did see them joining rebel forces.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Nien Nub.
Nien Nub, who is a king.
That's right.
Man, saving all y'all. Poof.
And also, we saw Jabba's palace. With people like Weequay. All the action figures everybody bought from Jedi because they had so many, and
Yeah.
they made ones of. There's Nien Nub.
Yeah, we have the micro machine of Jabba's palace from Return of the Jedi. And
I
it's
love that.
The best.
It is the best.
It's filled with so many creatures. I love it so much.
And I mean, this was the prison break. Again, it was tense, like episode 6 was. I kept waiting for these guys. You know what I loved? There was one shot where you saw all the guards cowering in a room, and you saw the prisoners running by, and those guards didn't just open that door. They were cowering in that room, scared to death. I loved that because they weren't expecting this.
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of felt sad because you realize that a lot of the people that work for the Empire have been caught up in all this. They might not necessarily. They were also just doing their jobs, and they're just getting plugged.
Well, it is that moment, too, of, are we the baddies? Are we the bad guys?
Right.
Because not everyone who's part of the Empire is going to have that very, Deidre kind of sensibility of wanting to crush others. Or we see it with Luthen, too, right? Who is a rebel, and we identify as a good guy, but who's doing compromised things, right? There are surely just regular old schmoes who are working as prison guards, which, some of them are a little nastier than others, sure. But most of them, I doubt, are like, oh, man, Palpatine, got you.
Well, ever since, Kevin Smith brought up the idea of just Union workers building the Death Star, and those poor dudes were all killed when it got blown up. I mean, the idea that these are just people conscripted into the army, doing their jobs. I read today that they're going to start conscripting school children into the Russian army to fight against Ukraine. And I was thinking to myself, wow, talk about life imitating art in a horrific way.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I can't say enough. And we also find out that Daedra's her plan to kill that pilot and stick him in space so he could get discovered. They did that.
They did.
They did.
They liked that. I found myself in this episode. Each time we went to a different story, I would go, no, don't. I want to stay on this.
Yeah.
But then I had that for each time something happened.
Yeah.
Which I think is a testament to the writing here.
It's unbelievable.
Really, really enjoyed this one. And I don't trust a death I don't see. But there is the implied death of Kino not making it, right? And I really want justice for Kino.
Justice for Kino.
I love him.
Maybe somehow he did survive.
I hope he just treaded water. And I hope that his speech of, if you see someone confused or struggling, you help them. I really hope that resonated with some of those other men and they just linked arms and helped him get to shore. That would make me
force
so
him.
happy.
And you know, but it was a long swim, to be fair.
And I know that's a cop-out to be like, and he made it. It'd be like, and after the theater, Lincoln was fine. You know, I understand why we wouldn't go this route, but man, sometimes I want the people I like to stick around.
It's true. It was. And what's great is I have no idea where the last 2 episodes of the show are going to go.
Same.
I mean, I think that all of these people are going to flee wherever they are. Mon Mothma's she's got to take off. She's got to get the hell out of Dodge. Everyone's going to leave. Everyone's going to come together. They're going to find Saw Gerrera. There's probably going to be some big space battle.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
I think a lot of this too is what launches Cassian into being more of a screw you Empire team player.
Yeah, I agree.
Looking out for himself.
And that's also, we're watching everybody. Everybody is going to come together.
Yeah.
The team will come together.
I think so too.
Do you think we're going to see the moon of Yavin at the end of in episode 12? Where the rebel base is built.
Oh golly, I was like, what?
Well, yeah, in Star Wars, the rebel base we saw in Rogue One, the rebel base.
Yes. Sorry, I saw Rogue One twice.
Yeah.
Many years ago.
Where they launched the X-wings from at the end of Star Wars.
I don't think we will at the end of this season. I feel like that's too early
Could
because
be.
we still have 4 more years.
4 more years.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
I think it's going to be a little more time. Because we only now have 2 Rogue One assembly members, right? We got to keep building the team, and then I think we'll get there.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, should we find out what our viewers have to say?
We should, but first we should take a quick break and hear from our sponsor.
Athletic Greens.
Woo-woo.
Hey guys, we want to take a moment and thank the sponsor of this video, Athletic Greens. Now, I started taking Athletic Greens because I don't eat enough vegetables, and I was looking for a way to make up for that deficit in my diet of those vitamins and minerals that I really need in my system, and thank goodness I found Athletic Greens, and I literally take it every morning. You see, with 1 scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole foods, source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients supports your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, all the things. And my wife got onto it, and now she absolutely loves it. You know, tons of people take some kind of multivitamin, and it's important to choose one with high-quality ingredients that your body will actually absorb, like Athletic Greens. So right now, it's time to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with a convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season. It's just 1 scoop and a cup of water every day. That's it. No need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Campea. Again, that's athleticgreens.com/Campea to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And thanks to Athletic Greens for sponsoring this Andor episode 10 after show. Well, Kris, I wonder what our viewers are going to think of this episode.
Let's find out,
Let's
Rob.
find out.
Yay! From Randall Cartwright, Andy Serkis, give that man an Oscar. Well, this would be an Emmy or a Golden Globe or both. By the way, this episode was reminded me of Michael Bay's The Island.
Well, he can't get an Oscar. He can only get an Emmy for this. But I could see that. You know, this base was very The Island-esque. I could see that. That's a comparison I can understand.
I can follow that one. From Zach Marcello, I just realized that Andy Serkis knew the whole time after last episode he wasn't getting out alive, as he knew he'd have to swim and couldn't. Part 2 here, he did all this just to give his men a chance. I was so heartbroken in that moment. Ooh, do you think he was aware the whole time?
You know, I didn't consider that, but Zach could be right. And that's because he knew he was standing back from he knew where, I mean, he had to have known that they were in a water facility. So where are they going to go?
That's very true.
I mean, maybe he thought, look, people are very self-delusional at times like this. Maybe he thought there was going to be some way.
There's going to be a transport ship
Something
right when we
there.
need it. Yeah.
And then he realized, but that's even now I want to go back and watch these all 3 of these episodes and see if I could.
Yeah.
Once he realized, I think I like that, Zach.
like
That
too.
has just become part of my headcanon.
I like it a lot. I
We
think
knew
we're
the whole
always
time.
all hoping for a Hail Mary, but in the back
Yeah.
of our mind, we know. Oh.
Well, did you guys see the behind the scenes photo for next week's episode about what happened to Kino?
I didn't
No.
watch it. Oh, he landed on a little pizza slice floaty? That would be nice.
Wow, that would, can you imagine if those people they just happen to be floating by that facility? Come down.
Hey.
Could be good. Maybe that's why. Maybe I'll believe that's his fate.
From Jason A. I've made my mind a sunless space. Effing chills, man. Prediction. He wants to save Andor from becoming himself, much like Mon did for her daughter.
I could see that. I mean, maybe.
Well, and also, though, I just want to point out, we don't know if Mon saves her daughter. We have that great line of, that's the first time you've lied. Or haven't been truthful, I think is what he says.
Right.
And, I mean, jury's out on whether or not Mon's going to consider this deal, because I'm sure her crappy husband would be like, sure, betroth her. She's 13. Get her out of the house. Gosh, I hate that man.
That's dark.
That's the show, man.
It is the show.
From Jason A. Luthen is even more pitiable than Anakin. He knows what he's become and doesn't blame anyone else for it. Give this man an Emmy.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. I don't know if he's pitiable. I think that's what true heroes understand. I mean, the point is, if you become a partisan, you become a member of a rebellion, you realize you've given yourself over to the cause.
Yeah.
I mean, body and soul. And is that pitiable? Like he says, I mean, it might be sad, but he says he did it of his own free will. This was a choice he's made.
Yeah.
And it might have been born out of blood and fire, but still, he made this choice to be this way.
Yeah, I feel like it's a more admirable. Pitiable, I think of the situations Viserys ended up in. Or I think of, if you've watched Inside Man, David Tennant's vicar character on that.
Right.
Where there were other options and you tried your best and this happened. And you go, oh, why didn't you think of the other thing? This is somebody who knows that they are just going to burn up.
Yes.
And
But
is
they
okay
want to
with it.
win.
Yeah.
They don't want to burn up for nothing.
Yeah. And I think that acceptance is what takes it from pity to pride.
And I love it. He also says, you're not going anywhere. You're working for us. I love that.
So
God,
good.
what a character.
So
Give that
good.
man an Emmy. Give them both an Emmy.
Yeah.
Don't let them compete as supporting actors in the same category.
Yeah. Elevate one.
Elevate one.
Well, Andy Serkis would be featured or guest star.
Yeah, I guess he
Yeah.
would be. Whereas Luthen would be series
Regular.
Yeah. All right.
Dr. Hero. I cried 2 times watching this episode. A sunrise that I know I'll never see. It's such a good line. Man, people in Etsy stores right now are just like, I gotta etch it on a glass. Oh,
Totally.
it's gonna be everywhere.
I'm going to be Luthen for Halloween next year.
Rob would be so good.
Yeah, I want that. I want those robes.
Oh my gosh.
I said I wanted a hot toy of him dressed the way he is at the end of this episode. And I hope he comes with a sound chip where you walk by and he just starts delivering that speech.
That's perfect.
Right?
We'll make it so.
Yeah.
Oh.
I can make one. I can customize that myself.
Yeah. From Suthius, the look on Tay's face when Davo wanted his son to meet with Mon's daughter. Well, shit, I didn't see that coming. We're still friends, right, Mon?
That was the best. I mean, that banker guy's trying to do some good business, and here this schmuck, I didn't just come to do business. How about your daughter?
Yeah.
Throw your daughter on the pile.
Ugh.
You got nothing else to put down? You don't have car keys to your Aston Martin? Put down your daughter.
And the way he looks at her too as he's escorting him out of just.
Oh, man.
Sorry, this is what's going to happen though. Whew. From Suthius, to think that some of those prisoners are probably actually bad people, and some of those guards are probably actually good people, just doing their jobs.
Oh, yeah.
That's the whole point.
That is absolutely true.
Yeah. There. And no, once again, for the most part, aside from certain Star Wars characters, right? And certain other characters in literature, no one thinks they're the bad guy.
No.
Everyone always feels justified in their actions. You don't wake up and go, I'm going to tie someone to a railroad track today because I'm evil. Like you just, you do it because you think you have to.
It's true. And I mean, look at the fact that the people in the Empire want to do their jobs well.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how fascism begins.
As much as we dislike Cyril, he's a hard worker who wants to root out corruption and, you know, make up for innocent men, as far as he's concerned, being
Dying.
murdered.
Yes. And that's another thing about the show that's so great. So good.
From Zach Marcello, I love seeing the side of Star Wars and the Empire. This makes them feel so sinister and oppressive. It has forever changed how they make me feel.
Yeah, because it's turned the Empire. I mean, everybody thinks the stormtroopers are a joke. They can't hit anything.
Yeah.
I mean, and in the first Star Wars, that wasn't the case. You know, Kenobi says only Imperial stormtroopers are so precise. Who'd want to slaughter Jawas? You know, I mean, there was that element of competency there that was then later removed.
Yeah.
And now the Empire is scary.
I think we've said fuck several times on this show.
Well, they're scary as fuck.
Yeah. I'm sure I have. Jamie Sundays. I'll say this proudly. Best Star Wars since Empire. Ooh, hot take. Do you agree?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's a little atypical for Star Wars. I think I love this. And for me, it appeals to everything I love about great storytelling. But there's maybe, if there was a little bit more Star Wars in it, you know, it'd be more like, this could be a lot of different things. It could not, if this story was being told outside of the Star Wars universe, like if this was Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, and we're watching the same story, I'd be like, that was what an amazing thing. But because Star Wars does have a precedent about what we expect to get from it, I don't know if I'd call it the best Star Wars, but it's some incredible science fiction. It's incredible storytelling. And I think it's the best Star Wars stuff that we've got lately, maybe ever after Empire. But I wish it did have, to be honest, a little bit more Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
It's too much of it has been bled out. Maybe 10% more Star Wars. Turn on that Jedi holocron, whatever.
I think that's fair. Yeah. Because right now I keep viewing it as a whole, right? Where I'm like,
I do too.
Oh, but I'm watching, you know, like I'm watching this show plus Tales of the Jedi, and then I've got Mando that delivers a bunch of different things for me. But yeah, I think if I want a pure version of what I think would be the best Star Wars, it would be what you just said, with still some of the mysticism with this in there.
Yes, this is incredible, and it's the best Star Wars storytelling we've received. It's set in the universe, obviously, but I would love a little bit of Star Wars seasoning on the top.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Maybe we'll get it next week.
A little spice.
We're going to get we're actually going to get some Star Wars. We're going to see some battles, because I have seen, they have a clip of something that we haven't seen yet, of a space battle happening, and there's a really interesting weapon on board a ship that I think I know what it is. Ooh. Which is, imagine if a lightsaber was mounted to a ship, and it could turn on, and that ship could maneuver, and that blade could be used to take other ships out. At least that's what it looked like to me. I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but that's badass, and that's something that no one's ever done before, as far as I know.
Gundam wing shit. I love it.
I know. I'm like, whoa, dude, bring it on. I want that model.
Yes. From Zach Marcello, I think after this show, we're going to need an episode of Top 5 Star Wars Edition. Oof. Well, we can do that.
We could do that.
Yeah.
We should do a top 5 Andor episodes.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
We could do that at the finale. You just have to give us a heads up, because if we do it on the live show, John will say, we don't have time to do a top 5 at the top of our heads. Right. You just have to give us a heads up.
Even though we probably could.
We probably could.
Yeah, we could.
We smart.
We could do that.
Yeah. From Bert. Climb is a consistent theme in Andor and Rogue One.
Yes. I mean, that's interesting, because they're always, whether they're going to the top of a communications tower, whether they're climbing up the inside of the record banks. And this, of course, this entire episode was about climbing to freedom.
Yeah.
That's actually interesting. I never thought about that.
Very cool.
Is that the name? I didn't see the name of this episode, because it doesn't have a name right away, I don't think.
Taylor, did you know the episode name?
Is it called Climb?
No, I don't know. Fact checker David, do you mind checking and seeing what last night's episode was called, and then I'll get back to you guys.
Thank you, HR David. We will let you know in just a moment. Lord Merlin, who once again is incrapably supportive and generous, sending in a $100 super chat.
That's amazing.
Dude.
I wonder if he magics that up there.
He has to. He has to. Look at him. Look at him bringing all the money and magic.
Once again, Anal Nathrak Uthras Betho Dothiel Yende.
Man, that's probably why he pays the 100, so he'll do that.
That's the charm of making from Excalibur, everybody. That's what, Lord Merlin said to conjure the dragon's breath to send Uther Pendragon over to have sex with the grain.
The name of
like,
the
"What?"
episode from last night was One Way Out. Thank you, fact checker David.
Oh, okay, there you go. One way out.
Thank you.
So climbing is the theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's good. Lord Merlin, thank you for that.
Thank you so much. What else? Mark Paragas. Stellan Skarsgård's monologue is Shakespearean.
It absolutely
really
is. It's as good as anything Shakespeare wrote.
It is. I loved on the main show when you're talking about how there's going to be so many actors doing that speech now.
Oh my God.
Like I cannot wait till the next time I pop into like a scene study class and someone wants to monologue that. I think it's going to be so fun.
Well, it's funny because I went and looked on Facebook after we were over, and my friend Kevin Rubio, who made the Star Wars fan film Troops, he even said on his Facebook post, he goes, this is going to be done actors are going to be doing this in their scene exploration classes or whatever for years to come.
Oh, yeah.
So I wasn't the only one with that idea.
Yeah. If anyone ever follows the hashtag self-tape May, where it's a self-tape challenge that actors do, I'm sure that's going to be on there so many times.
Oh, I want to see that now.
Yeah.
Get
It's
on
gonna
that,
be fun.
actors.
Y'all, do that. Hashtag Stellan Skarsgård self-tape. Do that. It'll be very fun. From Bert again, got Apes Strong Together Caesar vibes from Kino. Yes.
Yeah, yes. I mean yes, absolutely. Let's do it. Yes, I totally agree with that.
Especially that stance. And again, the power in the face. Woof. From Cody Hunt. Why do you think Andor didn't kill those 2 guards? I yelled that at the screen. I looked at David and was like, why are they letting them live?
Because they acquiesced.
They did,
You know-
and they can't power anything back up.
Right. They can't power anything back up. They did, and in that moment, they did what they were asked. And I think that Andor, as much as if people are chasing him, he's going to kill them. But they're in an element, in a moment of humanity, I think that Andor realized that, okay, these poor schlubs are just doing their job. They did what we asked them.
They got on program.
They got on program. They don't have weapons. We'll let them live.
Okay. Because that was my only issue is you've killed a lot more willy-nilly in the past, my dude.
Right.
But that's fair. That's fair. From Bert again, Davo I keep saying Davo like he's some like bra. Davo the banker looked like Celebrimbor, aka Elvish from Lord of the Rings. Rings of Power. If he was corrupted by the ring, that is the first untrue thing you said.
I can see that. He did look more like a character that belonged in Rings of Power than Star Wars.
A little bit.
But that's okay. I mean, these actors, everything he said was great. I mean, his whole character, it's like, movies. I love movies from like the 40s and 50s. Even one person who has like 1 or 2 lines, they would cast the best actors even to deliver 1 or 2 lines with great theatricality, and they left an impression on you. That character definitely left an impression.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly well-written character, really well performed, very memorable, and super douche.
Oh man, and the grit in his voice too, because he is dressed like a Coruscant gentleman.
Yeah.
He speaks like a Coruscant gentleman, although the things he's saying are a bit upsetting. Still, nothing is being said that's completely improper or uncouth, but that gravel in his voice is this great reminder of like, I can fuck you up and I'm a gangster.
Right.
Oh, it's so
Right.
well done.
But I work within the system.
Exactly. From Zach Marcello, I'm constantly blown away by how little screen time this show needs to make me genuinely care about the characters. There isn't a wasted minute anywhere.
Well, I mean, there's a reason why this show is overseen by an Academy Award-winning screenwriter. I keep having to go back for people to remember Tony Gilroy's pedigree. And, and he's also a director, too. And it makes me want, like, this kind of caliber of writing in all of television. You can really see the demarcation point between great feature film writers and great television writers. And that's not to say TV writers aren't great.
Yeah.
But this is a next level. This is an Academy Award. This is Academy Award level screenwriting in television. And that's something that Star Wars and Star Trek and Doctor Who and all of our great franchises are sorely in need of.
Yeah.
Because when people are dissatisfied with all of these things, it starts with the writing.
Absolutely. Well said. From Lewis Cook, The scene between Luther and Lonnie was pure excellence. Luthen and Lonnie was pure excellence. It got me invested in someone who previously was a minor character, and Luthen's monologue gave us such a brilliant insight into who he is.
Oh, that was I love the moment where this guy, you find out that he has a family and wants out, you know, and suddenly you're sympathetic to this guy that you really didn't like.
Yeah.
He looked like this Weasley, Steve Buscemi character you wanted to punch in the face.
Yeah.
And I suddenly felt for him, you know, and I wanted him to be able to leave, but I love the fact that Luthen said, nope, you
Yeah.
can't leave.
Oh, so well done.
If I can't, you can't.
We're in this together. Blood in, blood out.
That's right. Vatos locos forever.
From Sam Fisher. I love that this episode didn't have any have to show you or tell you Kino is likely dead. They just implied it by telling you by him saying, I can't swim.
Yeah.
But I hated it because I love him.
But we didn't see him fall to his death and drown.
No,
So there is hope.
they at least spared me from that. My little heart can't
But
take
the
it.
thing is, those guards they left alive knows that he's one of the chief architects of this escape. So there's no way. I hope maybe he had a way to get out. Maybe he found a way to get out. I don't know.
I'm telling you guys, this is it. This is his way out.
I hope he finds a guard or finds a guard's uniform and just kind of lays low
Yeah,
and can get on a cruiser or something.
maybe.
But probably not. The optimist in me wants it. Lewis Cook. It's a testament to the quality of this show that a character like Kino Loy could have such an exceptional character arc in only 3 episodes.
Again, great writing. But if you think about it, 3 episodes is the length of a feature film. You know, and if this were a movie, if these 3 episode arcs were movies, they'd be incredibly satisfying, and he would have been the character that would have been the breakout star of, you know, this would have been Andor movie 3.
Yeah.
They'd broken them into 3 episode chunks and did them as so. It doesn't surprise me when great writers are working to create great narratives that we get great characters.
Absolutely. From Fanjecture, per Emmy rules, an actor qualifies for Outstanding Guest Actor in a Drama Series if they're in less than 50% of eligible episodes. Let's go, Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure.
He's going to get nominated.
He's going to get nominated. He's probably going to win.
It's
I
going to
hope.
be a big year for sci-fi and fantasy, and I'm stoked.
Oh my God! I mean, Andor is going to go up against House of the Dragon head to head. What do you do?
It's going to be great. Marie Seifring. That Keith will probably be recaptured or have to commit suicide to avoid that because he can't swim. Ugh. That Kino?
Kino, yeah,
That
it's Kino.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, what a bummer.
It's a very tragic moment for that character.
It's a very tragic moment.
Oof. From Peter Alexander, as Serkis does mocap and his work with the Imaginarium, this is a man who knows every muscle in his face and body.
Yeah.
Someone who redefines acting as much as Chaplin, Keaton, Brando, or De Niro.
And then I don't see part 2
okay.
right now, so we'll just stop here
All right,
for
well,
now.
Peter, we'll see if we get another part 2 in there.
But
for
you were saying that
Yeah.
before. You were pointing that out.
Exactly. And if you haven't watched some of his just mocap footage, and by that I mean him actually, you know, in the mocap suit and everything working, he is so phenomenal. It's one of my favorite kinds of acting to watch too, because what Andy Serkis does so well and what mocap actors do so well is that type of acting is acting stripped of its vanity. You have to be willing to do all kinds of stuff with your face. You have to be willing to look all kinds of hideous to give your animator the best rig possible to work with. And that doesn't always happen with straight on camera actors. A lot of times they're very, very worried about, how do I look? Am I thin enough? Do I look young enough? Is my face looking heroic in this moment? And it's all bullshit. It really, really is. You're not being of service to the story. You're not being of service to your fellow actor. And it bums me out. So when you have actors who are of this caliber, who commit.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Incredible. Well, and what's so interesting is that you actually can learn to play emotions on your mouth, on different parts of your mouth. Your lips don't just become 2 lips. They become sectionalized, like almost like a sphere or something. And you can ripple your mouth. And when Andy Serkis is very good at that. When he's yelling and something, he does something more with his mouth than most actors
Than almost
would do.
any actor, yeah.
It's very incredible to watch.
Masterclass every single time he shows up on screen and graces you with his presence.
It is true.
From Harv's K, I can't swim. So heartbreaking. And Kino must have known that there would be no escape for him, yet he was there for his mates.
It's true. But I do think, look, I do think that people, I don't think he was ready to die. I don't. I think that he was thinking, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it.
Yes.
We have to get out of here first.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something, and maybe there was something, who knows?
I hope there was. But I mean, I think that's why that was part of the mantra, though, right? Of the one way out is we're going to assume you're going to die.
Yeah.
Just assume it, but
and
die
he
fighting.
flat out says that. Mm-hmm. Because we're if we stay here, we're going to die.
Yeah.
They're going to kill us. So
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. This is the only way out of here. Mm-hmm. No one here gets out alive, except when they do.
Yeah. From Valerian Winterdrake, who sends in a $20 super chat.
Thank you, Valerian Winterdrake.
This director and writer would do Thrawn justice with great dialogue, chilling voice of Lars Mikkelsen. What other show could bring out this dread better? Vader and Palpatine are more one-liner villains.
Man, I wish Palpatine had been written the way he could have been written by Tony Gilroy and his team.
Yeah.
It would have been, and a Vader like this. But then again, look, I can say that now, but would that have worked in Star Wars at the time? I don't think so. Mm-hmm. It would have been a different vibe. We would not have been. That's a Star Wars that isn't written for the child in everyone.
Yeah.
It's written for the adult.
Right. Well, in hindsight is 2020. And I know that's rich on an after show to be like, well, they wouldn't have known better and blah, 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 as we dissect media on this channel. But yeah, I don't think you can say, oh man, wouldn't Palpatine have benefited from this?
Right.
Because we ultimately don't know if that would have served the story.
Or that people would have loved it as much.
Oh, I have to see stuff.
I mean, I think that's the thing. One of the things I do love so much about Return of the Jedi is that confrontation in the throne room. And I don't think necessarily that giving the Luthen speech, if Palpatine decided to speak that way, bless you, my dear.
Thank you.
It wouldn't have necessarily been good for Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
You have to pick, you have to write to the actual overall film that you're making. Mm-hmm. You can't just have somebody have a Shakespearean monologue
And then lightning thingies.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but
You could.
it might not
But
work.
will it be too much?
No. I mean, who would ever would you trade that for oh, I'm sorry, but it will be quite operational when your friends arrive. That was good for that scene. If he was
Yeah.
like, let me tell you about the sunset your friends will never see that I have just set on fire. Would that have worked?
I have compromised everything about myself. Now do it.
Yes.
Great.
All right, I got one. This is from Rogue One. This is Vader. Don't choke on your asparagus.
Well done.
Wow. I'll take it.
From Dangerous Lee. Best episode yet. Gave me the feels several times. Kino's monologue had me pounding my chest like Caesar in Planet of the Apes. Spectacular.
It's true. I mean, it had that quality. And like you were saying earlier, Caesar's rousing the troops. Time to go to war.
It's so good.
Okay, so
It's
good.
so powerful. Kurt, I'm guessing the monologues of Circus and Skarsgård from this episode will be a part of their Emmy submissions for this show.
Guaranteed.
1000%. Yeah.
Guaranteed. I mean, Skarsgård is it's like everything he's ever done. I keep thinking about when he's one of the Russian sub-commanders in Hunt for Red October. I mean, that was 32 years ago. And here we are watching him as Luthen now. I mean, that guy just kicks ass. I think was brought up today that he was in Good Will Hunting.
Yep.
And that's right. I forgot
Yeah, it's one of
about
Kaylee's
that.
favorites.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's fantastic in that, too.
Yeah, he was so good in that. As a professor that knows how powerful Robin Williams and that Matt Damon can be.
Yeah.
It's so great.
He's great in that. Oh,
He's so great.
All right, I have a question. I just saw this in the live chat from, I think it's Keyshawn. Do you guys think Uncle Harlow is going to show up in the next episode or in the finale?
he has to.
Yeah, I
He's the Chekhov's gun of this.
yeah, I mean, I absolutely think he does. And I need to know what's going on with Cyril.
Yeah,
I mean, Cyril's got a part to play yet.
he does.
Is
And,
Cyril going to find himself joining the rebellion? Because he realizes that the Empire, all these people are lame.
I don't know.
Or is he going insane?
He's so horny for Deirdre.
I know. But she's not horny for him. Even though some people
Is
think
she?
I can't believe that she's thirsty for that guy because that guy's a creeper.
I'm just
You know
saying.
what? Cyril is not a good kisser. I
On
can
what
tell.
grounds?
He's not a good kisser. You know what? Because he doesn't think in those terms. He's too externalized. He does
What if
not
he goes
enjoy.
full milk and Michael Valentine? He's in that moment, and all he thinks of is kissing you.
He's not a good kisser. You know what? He'd slip tongue in way too early.
I mean, that's probably fair.
I think he would use too much tongue.
Yeah.
Just saying. And what I mean by that, the guy is too, he's too myopic in his thinking.
There's
He
no
doesn't-
passion?
Yeah.
I don't know. She seemed also into being respected, though, in that way. She was like, get out of here. But they both kept looking at each other's mouths.
I don't know. I think no, I can't
Okay.
believe. I can't.
Okay.
I just don't buy it.
That's fair.
Don't buy it.
I don't know. I just watched that cut of Taylor Swift's song over their meeting way too many times and was like, they're in love. That's what I do in my free time, you guys. What else do we have? Marie Seifring again. I find it interesting how dark and unheroic it is to start a rebellion. Not just in what Luthen said to Lonnie, but consider Mon Mothma might actually marry off her daughter to a gangster's son. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's the entire point, of this whole show.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the greater good, you'll compromise everything. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one, and you to really start a rebellion, you have to destroy everything that you are.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that makes you heroic can remain, because you have to compromise yourself so much to get the people to safety.
Yeah. The altruism which would spark you towards rebellion must die.
Yes.
In order for you to be successful.
Yes.
All right, back to Star Wars characters that are good kissers. I think that this one would be a very good kisser. Size
Oh,
Noodles.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where Star Wars went south for me. Size Snoodles,
Yeah.
Lopty neck.
That's one of your favorites, though, Taylor.
Oh, yeah. It's been
Yeah.
a while since I put her on the show.
I know. From Kurt, if I ever needed someone to give a speech to inspire rebellion, I'm calling Andy Serkis. Apes strong together.
Yes, they are.
Absolutely. From John Durig, the spy in the ISB is also the comm operator in Rogue One at the main rebel base.
Wow. They're I love what they're doing.
Eagle Eye fan, thank you.
Peppering all these people
I
in.
appreciate that because again, I wanted to rewatch Rogue One going into the show, and then we just did not have time for that. But I'm really excited to watch Rogue One after this and see how if it truly changes my enjoyment of it too, because now I will be emotionally invested in a lot of these characters.
I mean, look, it is my hope that they go back and recut Rogue One and add the darker stuff into it after this show, because what a great, for Disney Plus. I don't know if they would ever do this, but a longer cut of Rogue One, like an extended cut, because Tony Gilroy was really involved in shaping that movie to where it ended up. Be great to see stuff added in, and they could. That's your extra finale.
Yeah.
Here's something for the fans: Rogue One, the special edition. Come on, Disney, do it.
Rogue One, there's no light side edition. I had to watch it. From Peter Alexander, also a shout out as Christopher Fairbank as Olaf, a great actor we've known about for ages, not just the Broker and Guardians or in Wolf Hall. Always good. Oh, this is the second part of his. So good. It was a second thought thing. Yeah. Christopher Fairbank is incredible.
He was great. He was in Tim Burton's Batman.
Yep. He's the first person that you hear, I'm Batman, said to.
Who are you?
Yeah. He's wonderful. He's
There
a
he is
great
in the
actor.
episode.
Oh,
That's
Taylor,
terrible.
too soon.
You're terrible.
Justice for Olaf.
Terrible.
Oh, man.
That's Jonathan running the show right now. He came back just for that picture.
Just for that moment? Oh, my gosh. Wow. From the man with the master plan. It was heartbreaking seeing Kino not making it out, but they did leave it open for his ultimate ending, though. Snoke origin is alive.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah, the people in the chat were like, he gets tortured to the point of becoming Snoke. Oh,
It's funny, if you look at this, I want to say it was Screen Rant, it might not have been. Andy Serkis was interviewed, and it's a pretty good interview. It's like long, it's like 10 minutes. He talks about Snoke and Snoke theories and all that. They bring it up to him.
Ooh.
He knows what's up.
Oh, that's fun. I'll have to watch those. From Marie Seifring again. Sorry, Kino, not Keith. Yeah, we got you, Marie. No worries. And is that it, Tim?
That is it.
Oh, my gosh. Well, guys, thank you so much. That's our Andor after show.
I mean, you know what? I'm kind of sad. We're done with House of the Dragon. We're done with Rings of Power. We're done with Andor in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, what's next?
What we have a lot of is Weekly Hero, which you can watch on Mondays. Now live.
It's true, Kris. It's true. But do you have any predictions? Like, what do you think's going to happen? What are the car predictions for the next 2 episodes? Do you have any?
You know, I'm wondering if Luthen makes it out of season 1 alive, and I really just don't think he does.
No, I don't think he does either.
And I think that's also going to be a launching point for a lot of other things to come together, including Cassian really kind of joining the rebel ranks in a more thoughtful way. Obviously, too, now with his comrade, they've escaped and everything. I really think we're going to be moving towards rebel factions, and I think we're going to be seeing these teams starting to come together. I would love in our final episode if there is a bit of a passing of ships, at least with, all of our various storylines melding.
Oh, I think so too. Are we going to see Bix run anymore?
You'll probably see Bix run a bunch.
Okay. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I know you do, bud.
So I bring
You
it up.
deserve nice things.
Look, I want a space battle. I want a space battle in episode 12.
You want a Star War?
I want a Star War. I want a big star. I want to see some new ships I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Combatant ships that I haven't seen before. I'd really like that. And
I want to see some figures that make me go, I'm going to spend a lot of money.
yes. Well, I already want a Luthen hot toy. I don't know if they'll make a Luthen hot toy, but I would like to see TIE fighters in battle.
Yes.
They tease. They're flying through the valleys, beautiful.
We heard
but,
the scream.
Yes, I want to see. We saw some TIE fighters get taken out in episode 6.
Yeah.
But I want to see them fight. I want to see some TIE fighters blow some shit
Yeah.
up.
I want a space dog fight.
Yeah, I do too. I want a big space dog fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's it.
That's
I
what
guess
we got.
that brings us to the end of our episode, the 10th Andor After Show. First of all, I want to thank all of our viewers, our generous viewers, for sending in those super chats because you give us great things to talk about, and it's great to hear your opinions about the show. I also want to thank our producer, Taylor Gonzalez, for sitting behind the console, keeping us smiling and doing a fantastic job. He's getting better all the time. He's always been good on these after shows, though. Just want to point that out. And I think you've done 10 of these now, Taylor.
I think this is number 10. Yeah.
That's
the Andor
amazing.
show is your show.
It is your show.
Yeah.
Only Size Noodle has been on it twice.
I mean,
But there's
honestly,
2 more
that's-
episodes to get her on here. So, and hopefully she's the finale.
Is that your prediction?
She's just the finale.
Well, thank you all for doing such a great job, and thank you again for supporting everyone here at the John Campea channel. Oh, wait. Kris,
I was going to say, can I say where people can find me?
where can people find you?
Hi, you can find me on the internet. I'm at actor Kris Carr on both Twitter and Instagram, or you can follow Speak Friends Studio, either on Instagram or .com, and sign up for voiceover classes if you are interested in voiceover. I actually have a boot camp this Saturday. I only have, I think, 2 spots left in it. It's 4 hours. It's a quick and dirty intro to voiceover. It's a fun time. Go check that out.
And I'm, of course, Robert Meyer Burnett, and you can find me on Instagram at RM Burnett, find me on Twitter at BurnettRM, or find me at postgeeksingularity.com or the YouTube page name Postgeek Singularity.
That's it?
That's
Bye.
it.